tech news that Jerome Ortega finds interesting. Goodbye, Moto, sort of. What started off as Motorola in the 1920s in Chicago split into two in 2011. Motorola Solutions, which makes radios, and Motorola Mobility, which makes phones. In 2012, Google purchased Motorola Mobility. In 2014, Google sold Motorola Mobility to Lenovo. And at CES, the chief operating officer at Motorola said, quote, "We'll slowly phase out Motorola and focus on Moto." What he means by this is they're ditching the Motorola name and going with Moto instead. You know, like Moto E, Moto G, Moto X. At least that's my understanding. I also read they still plan on keeping Motorola's Batwing logo. So they'll call it a Moto X, they'll keep the Batwing logo, they'll just brand it as Lenovo. Do I have that right? Rumor is Sprint is getting rid of 2-year contracts effective today. But I'm not so sure about that because I was just on their website and they were still offering 2-year service agreements, or the option to lease a phone for 18 months. I'm not sure how that whole leasing thing works. Do they just divide your payments over 18 months? I don't know about you, but I feel like you either have the money for a phone or you buy one that fits your budget. But that's my opinion. Anyway, getting rid of contracts opens up the freedom to move from phone to phone, carrier to carrier, and it might make you think twice about spending $650 for a 16 gigabyte phone. A new report by the FCC says that 34 million Americans don't have fast enough internet. And by fast enough internet, I mean they don't have access to 25 megs down, 3 megs up. That's 10% of Americans. If you want to flip it, 90% of Americans have access to 25 megs down, 3 megs up. Which in theory sounds okay, but now I'm going to go off on a tangent and talk about how expensive it costs to pay for internet in the US. I have 2 options for internet where I live, AT&T and Comcast. I picked the latter because I get faster speeds. But for 75 megs down and 10 megs up, I think 10 megs up, I pay $79.95 after taxes. And last month it was $76.95 after taxes. And I own my own cable modem. And that extra $3 they tacked on this year probably has no bearing whatsoever. Google Fiber offers 1 gig down, 1 gig up for $70 a month. $70 a month. 1 gig is 13 times faster down and 100 times faster up than what I have with Comcast. Enough to live in a city that offers Google Fiber, I'm happy for you. Google Fiber is like the T-Mobile of internet back in 2012. Happily, like Comcast, you can price the internet at pretty much whatever price you want. Week 1 is done. Hit both resolutions this week. Made a video every day and dropped at least 1 pound this week. 51 more weeks to go.